As we always do at the start of the meeting for our virtual meeting, just remember that we are being recorded this morning, and do remember that if you have to leave or anything, please mute your mic. So that gets us. We do the usual reminders. Make sure people remember that we are. If you're going to stand up, remember that we are still recording. So anyway, good morning, everyone. Couple announcements this morning. We don't have a large number of them. I wanted to start off with Mike Cooper. Have we heard any more on the blood drive situation?
Whoops, there. Actually, no. So I think we can assume right now the one we had was canceled. I mean, it's not going to be rescheduled. We're not planning on doing anything more. You know, we've got our big drive in August, and if we don't do something this month, then we've got to, it's going to get too close to our next, our drive in August that we want to make sure everybody participates in.
Okay. So, all right.
Sorry.
Well, I had a couple of questions this week because I noticed that they are having blood drives around the area. So
I saw that too. Yeah, I've not talked with anyone at Memorial this week. Yeah, but they've had Red Cross has had two of them. One at the mall, and they had one yesterday at, I think it was Target. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to make sure I knew you were on top of it, but we want, for those that had curiosity, I guess at this point in time, the only really option is going up to Bloomington to the collection center. Correct?
That's right. Yep.
Okay. All right.
And you have to make an appointment. You can't walk in.
Right. Good.
It's all part of their strategy of getting people spread out.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. Well, thank you for that. Is Rich on this morning? Do we have an update on Taste of Lakeville?
I haven't seen him on yet this morning.
Okay. All right. We will go forward then. Excuse me. We had our board meeting yesterday, and a couple things. The takeaways from that: we approved a $2,500 grant, emergency grant, to the DCTC and Inver Grove Heights Community College. They're having, I think we talked a little bit last week, there is a need for students for particularly in food insecurity. And so we were able to pull that together. That'll be going out for them. We also identified a need. I don't know, is Paul Marzon on? Pastor Paul? I didn't see him, but we will have there's an opportunity, particularly in the community of Lakeville, for some of our seniors, especially, that are having issues. They're having, not only food insecurity, but they're having some insecurity with just some of the basics of living. You may have seen Paul had posted yesterday on his Facebook page about blessing bags. Basically, it's putting together a collection of essentials, toiletries, deodorant, shampoos, things of that nature. So basically, there is an opportunity for donations, not just financial. Certainly, I'm sure they'll take that, but there is an opportunity for volunteers to bring that material, donate those, and drop that off at his church. So we will have, I believe, Kathy, we're going to send out a note with those details, correct?
That's correct. I'm waiting for the list, and I'll send out the list when that becomes available.
So in terms of being able to address a local need here, I think this is a new opportunity that's come up, and we will certainly do that. Other than that, I don't have any other announcements. Do we have? Did I miss anybody? Is there anything anybody wants to share?
If I could, Ken. 501 tonight.
Oh yeah, how could we overlook that? I'm sorry, Ken. My bad. Go ahead, certainly.
So tonight we've got our first virtual 501. We're going to be, I believe everybody got the link from Kathy. If you don't, reach out, and we'll see how it goes. We'll probably just have to raise hands and take turns talking about what's going on, and just kind of catch up with everybody. So I hope to see a bunch of people there.
Yeah, good catch, Ken. I think this is, for those of you that have not been to a virtual 501, it can still be a lot of fun. So I would suggest, if you haven't tried it, if you've had a curiosity about it, you can certainly, the commute time is short, and everybody can bring their own beverage of choice, whatever that is. And if you're like Dave, maybe it'll be time for lunch, for dinner by that point in time. So you can bring your own appetizers.
Say, Ken?
Yes.
Ken, this is Greg. Did you say previously that the board approved a $2,500 contribution to Inver Grove and was it Dakota County?
Yes.
Yeah. Their original request was for $500 apiece. And
Yes.
I think there was a matching grant, so you upped it to $2,500.
Yes. Thanks to the diligence of our ever vigilant treasurer, and this is something I was aware of. I had forgotten about it. Alan, would you like to explain how that happened?
So a couple of years ago, we had approved a grant to each school, and for $2,500 each, and then it was never collected. We never sent it to them. They never came to get it from us at a meeting. So it's been on the payables ledger. Mm-hmm. And so I figured this is something that, since we owe them that money and we'd already approved that money at one point in the past, that it made sense to give it to them for this particular purpose, because it would do more good now than it would have back then.
Great. Well, I think that's super. And I think there was also a matching fund for our contribution too. So that 25 turned into 5, I think.
No, they had a matching one, Greg, but it only matched it up to $500.
Up to 500. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There was a cap on the match, so we figured this was above and beyond what their expectations were. And like Alan said, we probably get more leverage out of the contribution this time than what we had what we had from a couple years ago. So,
you bet. I'm glad we did that.
Yeah. Yeah. It was kind of a nice plus on the plus side that you actually were able to do more than what we expected. So
you bet.
Ken, if I could have a moment.
Sure, Marshall, go ahead.
Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, Rotary and the Global Polio Eradication Program has had to suspend its operations. We don't know quite what the effect that's going to have on our Polio Plus program, but it's not going to be good. We're going to be losing some ground. So I want to remind everyone that when everything gets back to normal, if it ever does, we're going to have to work extra hard to reestablish and to get back on track with Polio Plus. This, of course, is the #1 program of Rotary International. So I just want to remind everybody that that's going to be coming up.
Okay.
Thanks.
Well, thank you, Marshall. And along those lines, excuse me, we had a report yesterday on our foundation that basically we exceeded our goal for Polio Plus this year for the contribution. We had, I forget, I don't have the exact number in front of me, but we had a goal of, I think, 4,000, and we went like 4,200. So we were over that. And the other thing, I think the other thing we should all be proud of as members is on the foundation drive, we also exceeded our target. Our target was 41,000 this year, and it looks like we'll easily go past that by the end of the month. So I think a very meaningful accomplishment, particularly in this time. So thanks to everyone who helped us get past that goal. It's good for everybody.
Hi, this is Kathy Hewitt. I have an announcement from Richard. Richard just wanted to remind everyone to stay online after the club meeting for a Taste of the Lakeville meeting. He's trying to get online. He's having some internet issues.
Oh, okay. Well, we will make sure that we announce that again before the end of the meeting. Wow, we are really getting creative. What a what a montage of virtual backgrounds. Very good. So any other questions, comments, announcements before we move on?
Ken, this is Tony Steele.
Yes, Tony.
In, and I thought today being the day that traditionally we would be hosting our Strive end of year celebration that was on the calendar would have been going on right now. So I thought I'd just tell you what I know about how Strive is wrapping up.
Sure.
The bad news, of course, is that we're not able to have our end of year celebration where all the students come and we honor the progress that they made. But the good news is we got through, really the bulk of the program that we consider to be the Strive program, which would be all the mentor meetings and the different school tours that they take. So the only thing we're not able to do is have the big end of year gathering here. I have heard from Lakeville North, they've already identified their students that they're going to be awarding scholarships to, and I haven't heard back yet from South, but I imagine they'll be doing the same thing. So, all in all, the program will have run its complete course, with the one exception of not being able to have this day's, all Strive gathering at our club. So, what I have.
Well, thank you, Tony, for the update, and also thank you for, again, sounds like another successful year. Obviously, like you said, we won't be able to have our breakfast with them, but certainly, I think the benefit of being able to have Strive again this year is there, and thanks to all the mentors, and thanks for your leadership on that, Tony. Any questions for Tony? Okay. Well, very good. Any other comments or questions before we move on? Okay. Well, so today we've spoken a lot about, in the last couple of weeks, we've spoken a lot about community and COVID and the impact that it's had on operations, both at our government level and our social services level. So I thought today it might be a good idea to kind of look at it from a personal perspective. And so we've asked our very own Dr. Cody Rodewald to join us this morning. Hi, Cody.
Good morning, everyone.
Glad to see the technology's working for you there this morning. Tony has been an active Rotarian since 2017, and has been, as most of you know, he's been very active in the club. Most recently taking a role in our Taste of Lakeville efforts this year. And so I thought what we would do is have him kind of give us an update and answer questions on what exactly we can do to stay healthy during this period of time, and also maybe address some of the ways to address stress wherever that may come from. So Dr. Cody, it's all yours.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Ken. Happy February 16th outside, everyone. Just seems like we can't escape this winter. So I'm going to be talking very briefly today. I know we have, 20 to 30 minutes. I will probably use about 12 of them. Okay. So just put it together last night. Just wanted to talk about generally health and well-being and what we think of health and well-being. And I want to give you one word to start out with, and one word that I want you to put in the back of your brain the whole time I'm speaking with you, and that is adaptation. Okay, adaptation. Remember that one. Now, what is health? Well, until recently, health wasn't even defined as the lack of symptoms or the lack of signs. Okay, and ironically enough, the World Health Organization, defines health in three parts: physical, mental, and social. Right? So we think of health as just physical. And, that's not so true. We have obviously mental health aspects and then social health aspects. We can get into the weeds. What we're doing right now is efficient for all three of them. It's very efficient for the physical health of everyone. But that's a discussion for another day about the social and mental health of society right now. But I'm just going to go over what we're doing here in our office to keep everyone healthy during these times, and what you can be doing at home specifically to keep you healthy, getting through this, and what the research says on all this stuff too. So anyways, what we're doing in our office, first of all, we're doing extreme physical distancing measures. I mean, we're, having the same amount of patients, but huge time blocks. No patients are crossing over each other, wiping down everything. We're really doing our part in physical distancing because, patients still are in pain. And we've been advised by our state association and the Department of Health to stay open, because where we see maybe 100 patient visits a week, big clinics are seeing thousands of patients a week. So they want them to come in here so they can take the stress off the hospitals, take the stress off the medical clinics, and so we can do our part in easing the load in that regard. So I just want to explain a little bit about the anatomy, a little anatomy rewind. I know a lot of you know this stuff, but we have normal measurements inside of our body that indicate health, right? Normal blood pressure, 120/80. Normal heart rate, depending on the activity, 50 to 100 beats per minute. What you may not know is there's more and more research coming out where there's a normal spinal limit or a normal what your back should look like. Ask any spinal surgeon, when they piece people back together, they don't just put the screws in your back and hopefully you stay like that, right? No, they actually take your spine to where it should be, mold you there, put protective encasements around it, and then start the rehab protocol. So there's normal looking spinal limits and there's normal numbers associated with your spine. For instance, your neck should have a certain curvature, your back should have a certain curvature, your lower back should have a certain curvature, okay? You need these certain curvatures and these certain millimeters of deviation, to not have pain in your back, okay? And there's two types of issues that we address here in the office specifically. It's pain, one, and then it's also nerve pressure, okay? I know everyone's heard of a pinched nerve before, and most people have had a pinched nerve, okay? Check out this. We got a diagram, baby, to wake you guys up with this morning. So here is a vertebral couple in your back, okay? And I'm going to go over what I'm seeing a lot with this crisis. A lot of people are sitting at home over computers. They're helping their kids out. They're huddled over. I'm seeing a lot of neck injuries lately, and I'm going to go over that in about a couple minutes to explain why. However, this is a vertebral couple. This is a model of what's going on in your neck and your back right now as we're sitting here, okay? This is vertebra 1, vertebra 2. This is a disc space right here in the middle, that red bulb, okay? What these yellow dangly things are on the sides are your nerve roots, okay? So when you pinch a nerve or when you throw out your back, that is actually what's getting affected the most, or that's where you're feeling it, okay? And you don't throw out your back, you don't pinch a nerve without something causing that pinch. More than likely, it's either a disc or another bone actually pinching that nerve. So what we do here is we figure out, hey, what bones are out of alignment? Let's say if it's vertebra A or vertebra 1 tilted like this, it's putting pressure on that nerve right there. You can see that pinching down. And then what we find is if you have an abnormal disc pressure, let's try to get the angle here. I don't know if you can see that. It pops out like that. Okay, pops. And then that leads to a lot of nerve pressure too. So it pops actually on that nerve. And what we find is a lot of nerve pressure is going on in the cervical thoracic junction. That's right where your neck meets your upper back. I'm calling that kind of the COVID misalignment, or the COVID stress the past month. Why? Because we're all leaning forward way too darn much. We're hovering over our computers and we're helping the kids out. We're on our phones. We're not being active as much. So what you think of most of the time is when a muscle hurts to stretch it out, that's not really true with your neck anymore. In 2020, we're doing way too much forward flexion. If you can see kind of my alignment right here, this is where we should be, head straight above the shoulders. This is where majority of people are in 2020, okay? And that puts too much abnormal strain on that neck, and over time, chronically, it's gonna tear ligaments, it's gonna loosen up the back of your neck and cause it to be weak. Your musculature goes, and before you know it, you have a pinched nerve because you throw your neck out or you throw a disc out of alignment, okay? Now, that's what I look at here specifically what do you care how to do this stuff at home? How to take care of your neck, your back, and get out of pain at home, okay? Really quickly, the reason for all of this, why adaptation plays into it, these nerves you do not want pinched because it's painful, one, but two, guess what controls every single function inside of your body? Your nerves, right? You can't wiggle your hands without activating nerve supply from your brain down through your arm, your shoulder, into your elbow, into your fingers, okay? So if these nerves are pinched coming off of your back or anywhere in your body, they're gonna have effects going downstream. I know you guys have heard of neuropathy, right? Well, neuropathy is just a fancy word for nerve damage or nerve pain or nerve disease. So we don't want nerve disease. We don't want neuropathy. And actually, a lot of the times what we're finding is a lot of these internal diseases are also having severe severances of their main nerve artery too. So we don't want nerve pressure. Nerve pressure is bad. We want all the communication getting to where it's supposed to be. That way our body has the ability to communicate what it needs to where it needs to go properly. Okay, so what can you be doing at home to decrease nerve pressure, to decrease pain, to live well, especially in a time of uncertainty? This is going to be common. You know, I'm going to get into a little bit of specifics if you guys have any questions at the end, but it's very brief. One, we got to be moving. We have to be moving. And Doc Marshall probably, you know, might have heard of this study. There's a huge meta-analysis study done on Medicare patients, and they did all of these measurement parameters. They took blood pressure, they took CBC, the A1C count, sedimentation, all these measurements, and what they found was the biggest key for health and longevity above the age of 65, and you're not going to believe me when I say this, was the ability to put on your own socks in the morning. Okay, so it's very crucial to stay moving, to stay, not only to stay healthy, take care of yourself with internal things, with the systemic things, but to be able to put on your own socks in the morning. Sorry, I got a pop up here, guys. I'm going to close out of this. But to also not ignore your aches and pains too, okay? Because what they found was if you were able to put on your own socks in the morning, you can fend for yourself, you can take care of yourself. Once you lose the ability to do a simple task like put on your own socks in the morning, that's when deterioration starts to happen in multiple facets of your life too, okay? So number one, exercise. Keep on moving, keep on going at home. Don't stop, you know, don't get that COVID-19 pounds, okay? So after that, stay hydrated. Big issue is people over the age of 65, you know, tend not to stay as hydrated as they should, just because they don't have the innate thirst mechanism kicking in always. And you know, we got to be drinking water as well as coffee. You know, so every cup of coffee you drink, supplement it with water. Stay away from sugary drinks. Make sure you get at least 8 cups of water a day. You know, latest research is coming out, you should have 10. I'd rather have my patients and my friends going to the bathroom way too much than being dehydrated. Okay, so make sure you're staying hydrated. Couple of things too, vitamin D, vitamin K. Okay, latest research coming out. I know a lot of you take vitamin D. What does it do? It proliferates a lot of metabolism in your body, a lot of health processes. It's very good for you. But the latest research coming out is it doesn't really get to where it needs to be unless it's supplemented with vitamin K. Okay, so vitamin K is rich in spinach, kale, leafy greens, broccoli. If you don't like to eat those things, just get a vitamin K supplement, not if you're on blood thinner, okay, because then that contradicts that. But make sure that you're eating some vitamin K as well as taking in vitamin D, and get outside once it gets nice and sunny out. You absorb vitamin D through the sun about 100 times more efficient than you do taking it orally. So make sure we're getting outside when the sun is at its high points here in the summer, and be eating some leafy greens once in a while to supplement that vitamin D, because think of vitamin K as the car or the transport mechanism that's putting the vitamin D where it should, you know, either in your bones, in your cells, and breaking down as calcium. But what they're finding is if you just supplement with vitamin D, it actually pools up in your blood and can cause some plaquing. So make sure that you take some vitamin K or eat vitamin K rich foods with that. And actually here in the office, we're short supply of vitamin D because I guess some doctor over in Virginia did a big case study on treating COVID-19 patients with good success with other drugs and vitamin D, and then that was published. So the vitamin D supply line is just wiped out right now across the world. So we're actually waiting on vitamin D as well. I say that because, do your own research. There's a lot of stuff going on out there with people that claim they can help with this, help with that. At the end of the day, it's about adaptability. It's about keeping your body strong and not being reactionary. So all this panic health is taking place. We're seeing a lot of panic health stuff going on right now. So vitamin D with K, get outside, get some spinach, some kale, some broccoli once in a while. Vitamin C, just for the antioxidant properties. We all know that. Eat an orange once in a while, take some vitamin C. It's great. What you might not know is omega-3s, okay? Omega-3s or fish oil, a lot of you probably take, but don't really know why. The latest research coming out is where the cell is comprised of a bunch of components. Omega-3s are basically just a fatty acid or a lipid layer that your cell lining or your cell wall is comprised of, okay? And there's a lot of cool research specifically done by Dr. Bruce Lipton. He's PhD. He used to be a medical professor over at the University of Wisconsin. What he found with his research was we used to think of the nucleus of the cell or the DNA of the cell being the primary driver of all the cell's functions, if it be nerve cell, heart cell, skin cell, what have you. What he found was he could actually manipulate the gene expression inside of the nucleus based off what gets inside of the cell, okay? And what he found was it's the cell wall, a healthy cell wall, that is a primary driver on cell function, okay? He basically pioneered the study of epigenetics, or a field of, epi meaning above, genetics, and what he found was, especially in multiple organisms, humans, plants, everything, you can have the same exact gene expression, as your brothers, your identical sister. Plants have the same exact gene expression, have the same exact fertilization pattern from the female and the male progeny. So anyways, what he found was that cell layer is very important on how your genes get expressed, okay? An analogy that one of my mentors told me back in the day was, imagine for all of you who've built a house or have built the office or have seen blueprints, okay? You give it to one crew. The one crew is professional. They have all these great reviews. They're disciplined. They have a good leader, and they're on time, and they work hard, and they keep themselves, properly insured. Everything's great with this crew, okay? Crew 2 comes to work late. They're not in the right mindset. They might be on drugs. You don't know what they're doing. They don't have a good leader. They don't have the proper equipment, the proper tools, and you give them the same blueprint. The end product is going to look different. The blueprint is the same. The end product is going to look different, okay? The proper crew, or crew 1, was giving your cell health all what it needs, having a proper phospholipid layer in your cells. The DNA is the same. The blueprint's the same. The expression is different. Group 2, or crew 2, they didn't maximize that blueprint, right? It was the same exact technical blueprints, the same exact angles, the same exact width on everything, but they didn't express it correctly. That's your phospholipid layer in your cell, and that's a really, really big deal. A lot of the research is coming out where, hey, we can actually express we can actually not change our DNA, but express that at the protein level, a different set of what's called phenotypes or genotypes, and have a almost optimal expression. So make sure that if you're not getting quality fatty acids in your diet, just to take an omega-3 supplement too, okay? So, or shrimp, salmon, cold water fish is a really good, get outside and fish some lakes and get some walleye in you this summer too. So, so that's a big one at home, guys, that not a lot of people realize. So that is it for me. Just make sure the big points here are, get your proper nutrients, make sure we're staying hydrated, make sure you're moving, and make sure your chin is up when you're feeling fatigued, when that neck is feeling tight, when it's feeling tired. Quit or surpass the urge to stretch the back of your neck, because actually it's getting stretched out too much. With the back of your neck, you want to lean backwards and actually strengthen the posterior margin of your neck. There's a couple of muscles here called your sternocleidomastoid. Almost all of my patients, almost everyone in 2020 has way too tight of anterior or front neck muscles because they're pulling on everything. Our phones, we're constantly on our phones, we're constantly on computers, so it's falling forward. Make sure you tilt backwards, okay? All of those things, it's gonna make sure that your body's adaptable for what comes, okay? For if it be a thrown out disc herniation in your neck, if it be even the common cold, the more you can equip your army or your arsenal to fight these things, the better chance you have, okay? And I'm gonna share one thing on the screen. Kathy, can I share the screen?
If you just hit the share screen at the bottom, you can.
There we go.
I think she allowed it.
Perfect. Okay. So my last thing here is, and this was actually developed by a medical doctor who, ironically enough, got his MD from Tufts University, but he got his MPH from Johns Hopkins, okay? And where are all the public health models coming out right now with COVID? Majority of them are coming out of Johns Hopkins. So I found that kind of ironic. Dr. John Travis, he developed this illness wellness continuum. And what we think of disease, we kind of think over here, okay, as a society, and that's okay. We need great ICU units. We need great emergency room units. We need great hospital systems. We need to beef up everything in America. We do. However, on an individual level, what I'm talking about is signs and symptoms in your body is a telling that something's wrong already. Okay, so if we keep on waiting until signs or symptoms come in our body to even think about health, to even do anything, we won't even break past this neutral point. Okay, and you're asking yourself, well, how can I get ahead of this? How can I do this stuff to make sure? And you're always gonna have signs and symptoms. That's okay. That's your body getting you back into homeostasis. If you have a cough, that's not necessarily a bad thing once in a while. It's your body trying to get out all the gunky stuff out of your lungs, out of your mucous membranes, and expel it in a responsible manner to make sure to replenish your cells, to make sure you continue to be healthy. Symptoms are good once in a while, okay? But if we always rely on over here for our symptoms to tell us about our health, we're always in a cycle of treatment. We're always treating, and we never seem like we're getting better. And that might sound familiar with some people, because it's true. It's always like the next thing, and that next thing. And that's okay. That's okay. We're doing our best. But we're not properly building up that arsenal. We're not properly doing the right nutrition, the exercise, the hydration, and frankly, in my profession too, to get your nerve system checked by a chiropractor, structural chiropractor, physical therapist, neurologist, everything, to make sure that you don't have any neuropathy, any nerve pressure going on in your body, because it's a big deal. So I would like to see out of this whole mess that we're in right now with the COVID-19 pandemic, we've been thinking about it a lot and talking about it with our state association. We would like for society to realize, hey, how important is it to build up your health arsenal for when bleep hits the fan like it is now, so you don't fall into a high risk category. I know some demographical stats are inevitable, right? Age, stuff like that. However, that doesn't mean that we can't build up our health arsenal at the same time. That doesn't mean that you're going to get promised to to be cured or promise to be spared from any disease. However, it does promise that you're gonna have a better chance of doing whatever we need to do to get past this stuff if we build up that health arsenal. And that first becomes awareness, like we're doing right now, education, and then growth, and that's an individual level. You know, we need to take repeated action to grow with our health. So anyways, guys, it's my hope that, you know, we stop focusing on here so much and the disability symptoms, signs, and that's okay. You know, sometimes that's the first aspect. You know, the first sign of a heart attack, commonality wise, is death, right? I mean, some people, you know, are caught right at the medical facility and they can do all these tests on them. And a symptom is different than a sign, right? A symptom is having radiating pain, referral pain down your left arm if you're having a heart attack, but the most common sign of a heart attack is death. So, you know, if we get stuck down here too much, it almost feels like the perpetual wheel spinning. But again, it's inevitable sometimes, but I would like to see society and in our community and every one of us now too. And I know this group is very, you know, forward thinking and health conscious as well. But society as a whole, our community as a whole, to get over here on the blue of this wellness paradigm. And the research shows too that if we do that, you know, we spend a lot less per capita on emergency care, and we stay out of ICU units, and we stay out of hospitals at a tremendous factor versus if we are just spinning our wheels in the treatment paradigm. Okay, but that is my last bit of it. And I mentioned the word adaptation when we first started. And again, adaptation is just to make sure that whatever comes our way, you guys, you know, we're giving our bodies the best chance. Is it going to be enough? It might not be sometimes, but you know, we can either live in fear with our health moving forward or forever, or you know, we can live with purpose and live with a plan. And you know, I think that it's getting rolled out in a public health setting now too, where plans are starting to take place. You know, I know this whole huge pandemic caught everyone by surprise. Rightfully so, not rightfully so, that's a discussion for another day. But individually, you know, we want to build up our arsenal so much that if a huge pandemic comes in, if some other issues come into your family, I know a lot of families right now experiencing other things that's not associated with this pandemic, and it doesn't matter. You know, we're always gonna experience health issues in our lives, and the best we can do is build up our arsenal so we can adapt the best way. That's why we're humans. That's why we got here. You know, we can adapt the best out of any living organism on the planet. We can adapt the best, and we're going to keep on doing so. And how you do so is build up that health arsenal. Okay, that's all I got, guys.
Question?
Oh.
Steve's got a question.
Yeah, Steve. Hold on one second. How do I get back to the big screen instead of
Don't ask me.
Okay. Well, no, go ahead, Steve. Sorry.
Oh, no, I just, I thought maybe you might have some thoughts or ideas on our attitudes, how it may, or maybe a poor attitude might contribute to kind of negative outcomes as far as our health, or a positive attitude. And maybe you don't have any thoughts on this, but are there studies that you can maybe talk about a little bit that talk about the value of our attitudes and how it affects our body or our well-being?
Yeah. I can only experience attest to what I've read. I mean, I'm not a public health expert. I'm not a mental health expert by any means. However, that the Dr. Bruce Lipton, the PhD, the medical school professor from Wisconsin, the books that I've read from him, you know, he actually has demonstrated that you can change your phenotypes or your gene expression on how you are reacting to things. Okay, so you know, life hits you in the face with something, family health wise, business wise. Humans are one of the only species in the entire world that can choose how they react. It's not so innate. And so what he found was, yes, with all of this stuff going on, if you have a positive aspect about it, that's not meaning that you're that you're ignorant or that you're insensitive by any means. You know, no one wants people to get ill from anything. I mean, it takes some kind of special, really mean individual to want people to get ill from anything, from cancer, from COVID, for anything. But to also have a positive aspect of that, you can actually increase your immunity by doing that, because there's numerous studies, I'm sure that Marshall can attest to, that, you know, anyone can attest to, that cortisol levels, stress levels in your body, it just makes your immune system dive, and it's just a perpetual hamster wheel there. And this is just my opinion on what's going forward. The stats will show the physical distancing have its parts. We're rocking and rolling. We're kicking absolute butt when it comes to physical distancing. I want to see more research when it comes to mental and social distancing, what it's having the effect on people. I did read some literature on a psychologist, child psychologist, where children, this is very crucial for children to have physical you know, interactions with other people besides their parents, because that's when their brain develops what, you know, for the lack of better terms, good touch and bad touch is. And that comes with playing around with other kids. That comes with talking with other adults. That social development stage in our kids right now is very, very crucial, because that's when their brain starts to form, okay, hey, what is good and what is bad? I got to figure it out. And to stunt that for too long, and again, this is just my opinion. This is just my opinion on this. We don't know the ramifications, and the studies are going to come out where, you know, do we physically distance a certain population and have our kids maybe do something different, expedited? Who knows? But, you know, the mental aspect of it, keep upbeat, don't get in the dumps. We'll get past this. And then we'll wait for research to come out regarding the physical, or the social and mental aspect of this stuff as well, because I think it's lagging, and I think we'll need to see that data when it comes out.
Cody, Judy Kelleher has her hand raised.
Yep.
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Well, my question isn't around, I was just going to comment, that is part of this concern that we have with our school district, is social emotional is really critical to the development of our students. And so for us not to be able to, you know, school is more than just about learning stuff. And so that piece is concerning for us, with our kids being disengaged from a school environment and a big social environment. But my question for you is supplements. How do you know if the over-the-counter supplements that we're taking are quality ones? What do we look for to make sure that we're taking the best supplements that we can get?
Short answer, you don't. It's hard. It's not that regulated. You know, it's not like prescriptions, because prescription has patents on them, and there's an owner of that patent for a pharmaceutical company, so they have to have the strict quality assurance on those medications. With supplements, no one owns a patent for vitamin D, right? Or no one owns a patent for vitamin K. So it's hard, right? It's very, very hard, because there's not one governing body for these things. The best I can say is to do your own research. Why? Because there is 1,000 different supplement companies out there. In our office, we use pharmaceutical grade supplements. I know what supplier is. I know what sea the anchovies come from that goes into making their omega-3s. Even, you know, you got to have a company that you trust with quality assurance. Do your own research. There has been studies done where someone picks up a vitamin D from Target, and they actually put it into take it to a microbiology lab, centrifuge it up, and there's no vitamin D in there. So we kind of lose the hope in that regard. So make sure you do your own research. You got to get quality products. Do not get the cheapest things, you guys. I mean, we all, you get what you pay for, and just do your own research. I mean, that's all what I can tell you. I can tell you here. I 100% trust my supplement company. I've been to the manufacturing facility in Naperville in Illinois. I know where their supplier products come from, what their vitamin D looks like, their anchovies, like I said, that make their omega-3. So just, you got to do your own research, talk to other people. I know it's not the best answer for you, but That's all I can tell you is do your own research and just figure out what works best for you in that regard. Or come in here and I can talk to you about it.
Yep, thank you.
Yep.
Cody, Lynn Therrelson has a question. He wants you to comment on water consumption, hot water versus cold water, and lemon added.
Yeah, sorry, I'm Zoom illiterate here. Yeah, so there's research coming out where hot water or warm water that matches your body temperature is more readily absorbed. So you can actually get hydrated a little bit sooner with warm water, 98.6 degrees. Yeah, lemon added does actually take the alkaline level down. So there's a lot more research coming out too where alkaline water, in society, we're getting too acidic in our blood, and they're finding a lot more diseases can arise in an acidic environment. There's not a lot of peer-reviewed meta-analysis studies on this, but it's just kind of case study stuff. So yes, hot water is good. I hate hot water, so I just drink cold water, and I try to be adaptable about having my body. But yes, hot water is good for you. Lemon added, great, wonderful. So yeah, Lynn, that's what I would say. Hot water over cold if you're looking at hydration. Lemon added never hurts because we're too acidic. The research is coming out we're too acidic now. Oh, Bob, I just saw Bob had a question like 8 minutes ago. Bob Bear, people using standing desks, how much benefit is there? It's tremendous benefit. I would split it up. You don't need to stand all day. You don't need to stand 90-10. People think that you need to stand 90% of the day. You don't. There's been studies where they put pressure points, basically mechanisms inside people's backs, and they measured how much pressure each position of your body that ensues. So there's more newtons of pressure when you're seated versus anything. Actually, standing takes pressure off your back. That's kind of different, right? But it actually does. So, but you don't need to stand the whole time. 50-50 is good enough. What you need to be doing is moving. Okay, you just need to be moving. That's our bodies are built to move in a standing or walking manner. So that's what you got to be doing. Moving is key. Standing is better than sitting. But moving is the gold standard. That's all the questions.
Hey, Cody, this is Greg. I don't know how to raise my hand on this high technology, but anyway, you were talking about fish oil and omega-3, and there's some really good information. I'm looking at a website right now. I just plugged in omega-3 fish oil. And the do's and don'ts, how to look for the right quality, a good quality, some of the recommended quantities to take, and the pluses and minuses of doing this. So there's good information. You suggested doing our own research, and good information right now. I'll continue to read this.
Yeah. And I actually did some undergraduate research in epigenetics, which is kind of the field of that, where that cell membrane is with that omega-3. And omega-3 is the most underappreciated supplement that you can possibly get, but you can get it through salmon or through other cold water fish. So I'm not telling you need omega-3. What I'm telling you is you need the proper amount of omega-3 in your body. If you get it through diet, I like to say that we're a diet first office here. We always like to practice getting things through nutrition first. So salmon, shrimp, anchovies, cold water fish have a lot of omega-3s in them. If you're not eating that stuff on the regular, definitely research, get a high quality omega-3. They're not that expensive. I mean, I think in our office, I think a 2-month supply is like $48. I mean, it's not like in the hundreds and the 200s. It's very reasonable. But yeah, that cell membrane, it's all about the cell membrane. It's all about keeping your cell membrane healthy. Good question.
Thanks.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments for Cody? Well, I have to say, Cody, that was quite instructive in a short period of time. I'll never look at putting my socks on again in quite the same way.
That's what it is. That's why keep it up. You're gonna live long, healthy, happy if you can keep your socks on.
I just have this vision of people running down the street drinking hot lemon water, so they make sure that they're staying in shape. So Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you so much for doing that for us this morning.
You bet.
So I guess we at this point, why don't we just look and go around and see who has any happy dollars this morning? Are we happy at all?
I would have been happy if it was truly April 16th in the normal sense, but 3 more months to go.
You don't exactly see that as an opportunity, huh, Nancy?
No, not into my vacation time.
I've got a happy dollar. It's Frank Shobin's birthday today, and so got up early and prayed for him and the family, and just he always brought joy to my life, and his memory still brings joy to my life.
I agree. Thank you, Paul.
Well, I've got one. Lauren Jensen is a Lakeville North women's basketball player, and she's been recruited by the University of Iowa and got accepted. So we're going to have a Lakeville North student at the great University of Iowa. I just wish Tom Mork was on the phone or on the meeting today. But so I'm happy.
I have a happy dollar. The deadline was midnight last night for the Dave Oswald Holmes Scholarship, the annual scholarship we do. And in pure teenage fashion, out of the 41 or 42 submissions, a full 18 of them came in the last 24 hours. So, and these are superstars from 7 area high schools that have demonstrated leadership in their faith communities, their schools, and their neighborhoods. So, judges that are on the screen, be aware. We got a thick book coming for you again this year. So I'm grateful to all those that participate and help out with the judging.
And what is your date again, Dave, for selection and announcement of that?
We try to do that by June 1st, so that as they, of course, in a traditional school year, that's usually the last week of school. We try to get the word out. Then we do in the summer we do a presentation ceremony and give them their symbolic checks. Of course, sure. The checks have to be written to their colleges. And over the last 7 years we've been doing it, the checks have gone to, yes, the University of Minnesota, University of Wisconsin, but Purdue, Yale, Harvard. These are great kids coming out of our South Metro community.
Yeah, absolutely. You've always had some very good, highly competitive, but always had some really good selections coming out of that. Very good. Yeah. I thought you were going to say you had 18 of them come in at 11:59 last night. So
there were at least 2 that came in after I went to bed last night.
Okay.
Hey Dave, what's going on with that virtual background of yours?
I stole it from you, Richard.
It's a Rotary rule. There can only be one for each type.
I used to live there. Did you?
We went in there home ported once, a couple days.
Well,
Kristen's background.
Dave probably has a few more pictures in.
He got there first. If I could, just a happy dollar. I finally got my internet back up, so I got a happy dollar on that. I don't know if anybody else had any problems connecting in, but it's all good. So just a late one on Taste of Lakeville. We'll have a meeting afterwards, and if you all could, for the club in general, if you could just please start thinking about TOL again. I mean, I know we've had a gap here, the tickets and auction and sponsors, and any vendors out there you can interact with. Just start thinking about it again, and more to come in the future meetings. Thank you. And again, we'll start with our regular team meeting right after this ends. Thank you.
Thanks, Richard. Glad you made it on this morning. Any other happy dollars this morning?
Well, now I do. I have a happy dollar for Jim Christian's background. That photo of Frank is just wonderful. Thank you.
Oh. Good memories.
Good memories. Absolutely. Good job, Jim. We remember, all of us that had the opportunity to work with Frank always remember.
Whoa. Now we got 3 Golden Gate Bridges. What's?
Speaking of Frank, I did learn that didn't his son, was it Dave? Didn't he pass earlier this year?
Yeah.
John.
John, yeah, thank you. Yeah.
John, yes.
Well, in honor of Frank tonight, I'll be wearing his the T-shirt that Paul gave me for 501. So.
And
the fun guy.
Yeah.
The fun guy. If anybody would have been at 501, virtual or otherwise, it would have been Frank Chauvin. So we'll look forward to that, Ken. Any other happy dollars? Maybe we're going to save some of those for our 501 this evening. So just another reminder, please join us this afternoon at 501. If anybody's having any technical issues with getting into the Zoom platform, reach out to Kathy. She'll be happy to help with that. So, Jeff Kohnhofer, it looks like you have a helper with you this morning.
Yes, this is my background. They come to visit today.
Very nicely done. Well, thank you everyone for signing in this morning. Cody, thank you for sharing this morning. I feel like I have a whole new perspective on what I need to look for. So if ever